We're under 90 seconds, Freddie, and this is a big, big moment for the fleet.
That's a big moment for the fleet. How are the boats that currently are in the grand final going to play today? Are they going to push, try and find some form, or are they going to protect their assets? Let's not forget, if they have a stinker today or tomorrow, break their boat or capsize, they will not be in the grand final. That means the boat in fourth will step up into that three-way grand final. That boat currently is Spain. It's blown my mind they got rid of their helmsman. Have they thrown away fourth place by doing that? I personally think it could be a bit of a shocker, but time will tell.
Well, it's a big, big race course out here, Freddie, isn't it? There's going to be a lot of action. 44 seconds to go, and the boats are already turning back. New Zealand a little bit late on parade, but it's going to be a good one.
So they get into position, and you cannot cross the line until it goes white and the clock hits 0. So this is key, Stevie, getting the right spot and timing it perfectly.
Well, here we go. Left-hand side of the screen, we see the start line. There's the blue pole position, and Spain, well, he's aggressive. He's early leading back here, Jordi Jamar, on the Spanish boat. He's going to be probably a little early to take off. Nathan Outridge on Japan. Have a look at the Japanese boat coming through underneath the fleet. He's attacking this bottom end of the line. It's all about the timing. It's Australia in the middle of the line. He's early. Nathan Outridge and the Japanese crew at the bottom of the line. Full pace. Timing looks good. Here we go. Light goes white. It's clear to go. Great start by Jordi Jamar, but at 63 kilometers an hour on the top of the wing there. Nathan Outridge and his Japanese crew are going to lead the fleet towards Mark 1. It's a drag race now.
Pressing hard.
All 8 teams off and sailing in the San Francisco Bay. The key, mark number 1. Who's going to have the pole position? It looks like Nathan Outridge in Japan are in the prime spot.
The bottom end of the fleet, left-hand side of our screen, was the shorter distance. Nathan timed it perfectly on the Japanese boat, and here they go. They have control of the first decision. It's tight, second, third, and fourth. France, Spain, and Australia. It's going to be a sprint down here as they approach gate 2.
Got him sharp in the next path.
Here we go. It's Nathan Outridge there talking about jibing in the next gust. He's looking backwards for that wind, listening to his wing trimmer, Chris Draper, and they set up to jibe.
2, 1.
So right now, Japan has control of the race course. Freddie, did they make the right decision where they're taking this line?
Yeah, I think they might be looking to jibe in the flatter water and limit their manoeuvres. I'm interested by New Zealand here at our bottom of picture. They're setting themselves up to get out to the shoreline as we go upwind into the flatter water. That is where you want to go. We're going to call it bottom left, get to the shore, flat water, better boat speeds.
Well, look at the ladder line here. We can see in the middle of the fleet, the Spanish actually have found a little bit more wind. Their speed at the top of the marks there, we can see they've been up at over 70, but on the numbers on the bottom, the Japanese are quicker than New Zealand. They're finding their way down the course quicker. That's going to be crucial. The Spanish team here set up. Jordi Jamar, that board's taking a long time to get on the lock. Here they go. They're having to jibe, but the Japanese stepping out as we come down the course. It's tight in the back here. The Spanish fall off the foils. Japanese set up to jibe, and it was a diving move by Peter Byrne. The Spanish, oh, they've messed the jibe up. Big loss by the Spanish crew. Burling and his New Zealand crew charging in second, and they're all setting up for a right turn at gate 2.
And as they come to gate number 2, it is Japan in the lead, New Zealand and the USA spurting into a prime position, but a near miss there, and a lot of confusion and a lot of congestion in the middle of the field.
It's San Francisco rush hour. It's going to be San Francisco rush hour on that shore side. All the boats are trying to get out to that bottom left for the flat water. The Brits have decided to go to the opposite gate and try and sail a bit free and fast. It'll be interesting to see where they rejoin the boats that are coming off the shoreline.
Yesterday during practice, Great Britain was the most consistent, looking so good, and they've got the message on the front, send it.
And they really are sending it now. That's the voice of wing trimmer Ian Jensen there, 15 seconds. He's talking about the distance to the boundary.
This is the umpire's penalty relative Denmark. Penalty found relative Denmark. Didn't give Mark room.
French now need to drop back behind the Danish crew. That will be costly. We can see the ladder lines on the screen now. They tell us who's leading up the course, and at the moment it's the Japanese crew of Nathan Outridge, but he's not done the best tack. He's flying the boat a little bit low on that shoreline side. The wind is gusty. Lisa talked about a bend in the wing caused by the land, but let's see how good that is at the moment. Looking at the ladder line, it's Peter Burling and the New Zealand crew. Look at the speed at the top of the mast, 55 kilometres an hour. Huge boat speed on the Kiwi boat.
But look at Australia.
Australia back in the game, Todd. They are out the back. And at the moment, the big losers are the Japanese crew. Found a light wind patch. It's going to be tight with Great Britain. Outridge and his Japanese crew have to turn behind as the Kiwis in Australia straight into attacking duel.
And the Americans also falling back. They were in third, now back to fifth.
Bad jibe there by Burling. The boat's off the foils. Look at the speed here.
And look at the wind speed on the British boat. They're going to the San Francisco shoreline and they have got more wind speed than the boats offshore. That means they're not only just in the flatter water, but they've got better wind as well.
Remember, 3 races today, but if you are Japan, if you are the USA, and if you are Australia, you are thinking about the big picture, the grand final tomorrow for $1 million and the overall series title.
Actually, a good going to Japan there, so getting out early was good. Yeah, I think you will.
Leg 3 of 6, race number 1. We are scheduled for 3 races today here in San Francisco, and look how tight it is. We've got 4 boats all within 100 meters of each other.
They're all going to break that ladder line. That's the voice of Tom Slingsby talking about the next manoeuvre. It's Burling who has the right of way, being on starboard tack above them. When the Australian crew tacks, they will have to keep clear of Peter Burling and his Kiwi crew. Oh, that's... Sorry about the language there. Bit of industrial stuff. They're just talking about being out of phase with the wind speed. Here comes Tom Slingsby. He's getting very frustrated as Burling sails him into the shoreline. Slow tack. Pretty unimpressed with the aggressive sailing there by Spithill. Look how slow they are at just 28 kilometres an hour, and it's at the bottom of the screen. Ben Ainsley and the British crew fly away.
And Stevie and Freddie, in the meantime, Great Britain with Ben Ainsley just benefiting from the battles that are taking place on the inside.
Yeah, they were the first boat to split and sail a different course at the bottom. They then got a nice shift out of the bottom and better breeze on that shoreline as well as flat water, and that's why we've seen this lead change.
Really
tight.
Really tight there, Todd, and really light wind on that top right-hand corner of our screen. That yellow line says it's the ley line, but look at the loss. That's nearly 300 metres in the blink of an eye. Ainsley is heading back towards that lighter wind. He has had to tack. This could end up losing him a little bit late on, as the Kiwi crew will be set for a right turn, and we're going to see a split.
So now the entire fleet is chasing Great Britain here as they make their way into leg number 4. New Zealand, Australia, Japan, and the USA fighting for that second position.
Okay, stand by jibe here. Yep. 2, 1, coming down.
So calm back on the course now as Australia and New
Rolling
Zealand
rolling down, stand by, foot down.
sitting 3rd and 2nd respectively, and everyone chasing Ben Ainsley and Great Britain.
Okay, turning.
Nice jibes on the boundary here as we go. A little bit of an early jibe by Australia, perhaps given the opportunity, but it's the movers and shakers through this race, and it's Great Britain that have really moved through the fleet well.
Calling 18 to boundary. Okay, stand by.
That was the voice of Ian Jensen, the wing trimmer on the British boat, calling 18 to boundary. He's watching that monitor. He's informing Ben Ainsley of where the edge of the course is. He then takes the steering wheel and off they head down the course again. And it looks like they did make a loss on the British boat there in that lighter winds under the San Francisco shoreline.
Fellas, is it the new branding on board Team Great Britain, because they are brought in a whole new paint scheme, but it seems to be paying off here in San Francisco.
Absolutely fantastic to see.
And look at their Mark 1 to now position. They actually had a very bad start off the top of the line. They got to Mark 1 in 7th, they're now 1st. New Zealand had a lovely first upwind as well, moving from 5th to 2nd.
And the big losers in that, Freddie, were the Japanese and Nathan Outridge.
The USA also dropping back. They were sitting in 3rd at one point, now in 6th as we are on leg number 4. Then it'll be back up to the top of the course and then a quick left to the finish line, and race number 1 will be in the books. But it is Great Britain with a great performance. Stevie, you go back to leg 2 and 3, and that's where Ben Ainsley really made his move.
Yeah, absolutely. We're on board with the British boat here. Before the start, Lisa asked us the question, would they want to go for the more consistent wind, or would they go for the shiftier wind underneath the San Francisco shoreline? Ainsley here, he's set up to go offshore again. He's going to sail away from the land, find the clearer wind. That did him well on the last leg. Look at that lead, over 200 metres ahead of the second place New Zealand boat.
And this is a summary of the British downwind leg, and they've got some wheels downwind. Look at that, about 4 or 5 kilometres an hour faster than their nearest rivals, sailing a very, well, identical distance. So they've got some wheels on that British boat with their new branding. Speedy branding, I reckon.
Fast stickers. Well, there we go. We're going to split at the bottom. We're going to learn a bit more about this race course when Australia and New Zealand come back together. Australia classically heading into the flatter water off San Francisco. Burling in second place. Equal time at the bottom mark. We come on board the Kiwi boat, sailing it well, foiling it smoothly.
5, 3, 2, 1, 4 down.
It's not lost on me that the two boats that are at this regatta, and they're my redemption boats, Britain and New Zealand, they're the two boats that right now aren't going to make the grand final unless there's a shocker for the top 3. They're sailing really fast and really clean. Is that because the pressure's off a little bit?
Maybe, but that tack, look at that tack on the Kiwi boat there, Freddie. The speeds drop right off. But as we look on the ladder line, it looks like a huge gain to the turn at the bottom for the Kiwi crew. That San Francisco shoreline is proving treacherous for the teams that head there, which is a shame for all the fans on the shore there, not getting the close-up views at the moment.
Massive crowds turning out on a beautiful Saturday here in San Francisco. This is leg 5 of 6 coming down to the finish. It'll be the 200 meters after they get onto the final leg, and it is all Great Britain, all Ben Ainsley here in the bay.
We see the ride height there. Look how high the British crew are flying at over a metre. We see them tacking. Watch for that hull. It's skimming. No, it's up in the air. Lovely tack on board the British boat. Keeping it smooth. They really are sending it. And that ride height is constantly above 1 metre. Luke Parkinson doing a great job as the flight controller on that British boat.
And also, look, they've been flying the boat out of the water 100% of the time compared to the other two. If you touch your hulls in the water, the boat slows down, and that's the difference right now, and that's why they've got a really good boat speed.
Fast and efficient. Team Great Britain out in front by more, bumping on 200 meters. Second place with New Zealand, third with Australia, Denmark, the USA rounding out the top 5. But remember, the USA, Japan, and Australia already have their tickets punched for the grand final, which is coming up on Sunday, the race for $1 million and the Season 2 championship.
Final upwind leg here, Todd, and we've probably only got about 500 metres to go till that last turning mark, and then a 500-metre dash to the finish. So we're within the last few minutes of this race. Ainsley will like what he sees. He can see a 250-metre lead looking at the ladder lines. Burling in second, and it's going to be a tight battle for second. New Zealand has to turn away in the background as Australia comes flying in, crosses ahead. They had the right of way, and it's now... There we go. Ainsley. He's got enough of a lead that he can play it safe here. We should see the... Yeah, there it is, the yellow line of the ley line coming into play. Normally he'd tack right on that yellow line, but he feels he's far enough ahead to play it safe, go a little bit wide.
And what would this mean to Team Great Britain? Remember, they have not won an event since going back to the first event of the season, Season 2, in Bermuda. They have been winless since then. But to wrap up the season, you talk about a road to redemption. Winning the first and last event, they wouldn't be in the grand final, but what a way to cap it off.
I think you've got to start looking at this as a start to Season 3, Todd, and as Freddie alluded to, let's hope not, but should anything befall one of the first 3 boats in the next day and a half of racing, well, 4th place boat will end up in that grand final tomorrow afternoon here on the harbour, and I think Ben Ainsley, well, you know, he's had worse comebacks before.
On the final leg, leg 6 here in race number 1, day 1 in San Francisco at the Mubadala Sail Grand Prix. And what a performance. Ainsley did not have the best start, but consistency, and they kept the boat dry and flying fast. And the Brits will take the win in race number 1. Coming around now and sitting in a prime position and on their way to the grand final, barring any major incident, are the defending champions, the Aussies, and then New Zealand sitting in third. But all eyes on the Union Jack. Great Britain comes to San Francisco, and they will claim the win in race number 1.
Do a wing go. Yep, got it. We are.
Ainsley across the line. Australia in second, New Zealand looking to be in third. Good movement for Denmark in fourth. The Americans, guys, Jimmy Spithill said to the skipper, he's going to protect the asset.
Going to protect the asset, and the Danish move through the fleet really nicely in that race, and they are going fast upwind. I'm going to dive into it a bit more, but the Danish have found wheels upwind.
Intriguing race that for me, Todd. We don't know what these finalists are all thinking. For me, Tom Slingsby, wow, he looked fast. He came from well back in the pack, right up to second. Nathan Outridge, was he just practicing his starting? Did he back off? He was first at Mark 1. There's a lot of people that can try and take positives. Only the sailors are going to know what they really feel.
As Denmark comes across, let's check in on the water with Lisa Darmanin to get a sense of what the conditions are like here in San Francisco. Lisa.
Well, it certainly has changed since the start. The wind is really pulsing, so the left can work, but it's got to be good at the time. So the teams have to keep their eyes open and watch that wind dump over the hills.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that as Ben Ainsley, Tom Slingsby, Peter Berlin safely into the clubhouse as they get ready for race number 2 coming up shortly. Denmark will come across, then the USA will finish in 5th place with Japan in 6th, France and Spain bringing up the rear. But remember, it is all about getting the points to win not only the championship here in San Francisco for this regatta, but keeping your boat safe if you're in the top 3 to go to the grand final. So 1:10 to go to the start of race number 2. Great Britain winning race number 1, and this will be critical. Putting yourself in the best position, Freddie, to get a jump at the line. Remember, you cannot cross the line until it goes 0. The white line is clear.
And we know from race 1, the Japanese launched really well off the bottom third of that line. We saw that in our insights at the top of the show. That's the place to launch from. But the race is not over at Mark 1. On this race course, there's overtaking lanes everywhere, and that's because it's wind against tide offshore with choppy water versus wind shift and flat water inshore. Really intriguing racetrack.
Well, and here we go. We've got 32 seconds to go, and out the back it's New Zealand and Spain. A complete change of strategy for the Spanish. But Nathan Outridge on the Japanese boat here in the middle of the line. 22 seconds. All the boats are a little bit earlier. It could be the British crew coming at the bottom in the bright blue. They're close with that Danish crew. They must keep clear. Who's gone timed it right? New Zealand are on the foils out the back. Is there a gap for them to find it? I think there is too little too late. And it's Outridge on board the Japanese boat at the top of the line. Look for the line to turn white. Australia and Japan on the button, and it's now a drag race between these two massive teams. On the inside it's Slingsby trying to press over the top. It's Japan. I think at the moment it lies with Slingsby and the Australian crew. How brave will Japan be?
As they approach mark number 1, this is race number 2, and it looks to be like the Aussies might have the best position as they get set to make the turn. And look at Japan and Outridge over the top.
Japan have got to keep clear. He's pressing so hard. Wow, that's a precursor for tomorrow's grand final there. An absolute power of strength.
My wing, 2, 1, going forward.
Early jibe by Outridge. He doesn't like the light winds under this San Francisco shoreline, and in the background Slingsby. Oh, look at this, they lost control of the boat. Fly too high, they're going to be down, they're not going to be foiling. Big loss coming here for the Japanese crew. Massive mistake, 24 kilometres an hour. Australia and Slingsby, he'll have absolutely loved that. He fell over in front of him, and Slingsby's gone off down the racetrack and away.
There's 2 things I picked up from the onboard comms there. Chris Draper said, I've lost the screen on ports. They've lost their tactical aid. Nathan Outridge replied, if it's going to go wrong, let's make sure it happens today.
Well, it's good to find the positive in these situations. And we see on the ladder line at the moment, Australia to the left of the screen have gone well, but it's Contant de la Pierre and the French crew at the moment who are maybe 50 metres ahead, pressed in a little bit further towards San Francisco, and it's the French and the Danish. They're the gainers at the moment, and what are they going to choose at the bottom of the course in Gate 2?
And look at Great Britain looking so good in race number 1, bringing up the rear in 8th position, but Ben Ainsley has shown what he can do. Look at these numbers across the board. France now in the mix with Denmark, who had speed at the end of race 1.
Yeah, France are hauling, and they are more bow down than the other boats, which means their nose is pointing towards the water. Super risky, but super fast.
He is fast and loose, Contant de la Pierre, as he jibes there. He looks like he's setting up for a right turn, but it's Nikolai Sersted is the big gainer on this downwind.
Look at the speed from Denmark.
He's going to go left turn. That worked very well for the British crew, and at the moment these first 3 are boosted away.
2, 1, angle. Good pressure all
On board with Denmark SailGP, presented by Rockwell. Nikolai Sehested doing a fantastic job here in the bay as they move into first place, and they are on to leg 3.
Uno, ángulo.
There we go, Angelo. That's some Spanish we're going to have to learn this year. That was Jordi Jamar on the helm there of the Spanish boat. Great rounding, good first downwind leg. Burling and the Kiwi crew dive inside there as we come on board with the French. Great first downwind for Quentin de la Pierre here, and they set up. Here we go. It's a drag race now. They're in by this shoreline. Right of screen is Australia. It's a test of your boat speed now. How high dare you fly the boat, and how do you keep the boat fast? But at the moment, good gains for Sehested and the Danish crew. As Freddie said before, they're fast upwind these last few days. They seem to have found the magic formula, Freddie.
Wind speed holding right around 24 to 25. It was as high as 30 kilometers per hour. Now it's starting to dip down, guys, coming up on 21 kilometers an hour. So a big drop at now 20.
Yeah, I agree. It looks really light right now.
Don't sound like not great comms on board the Danish boat. They're not used to leading, but there's definitely everyone that steps away from the San Francisco shore towards the bottom of our screen currently is finding more wind, is finding a gain. The Spanish crew there, they went round the bottom mark in fourth, but they're up to second, a big gain offshore. Denmark need to be careful that it doesn't get too light, the wind in other the San Francisco shore. All those buildings, all that land in there, it's slowing the wind up. Further offshore, more wind. If you've got more wind, Todd, you just go faster.
Are you surprised to see Tom Slingsby, the defending champions Australia, who are already into the grand final, racing as tough as they are, as New Zealand almost clips them from behind?
Wow, that was a tight tack there. Australia had to keep clear. They very well judged by New Zealand, and all boats executed well. They're the best sailors in the world. We shouldn't be surprised as Denmark have lost the lead. They're on port tack, have to keep out the Spanish way. Spanish need to nail this tack if they're going to stay here. Big pressure on the Spanish crew's next tack. Here they go, setting up.
Then we get the right, that's pretty nice. Dos, uno, look, yendo.
And it is Spain out in front with Denmark and France, the top three. There you see the velocity numbers. And the wind is dropping as we go down on the water with Lisa Darman. And Lisa, what are you seeing and what are you hearing?
It is super light on this left-hand side now, and it's really dangerous to come over here because those tacks are quite difficult to do foiling if you're tacking out on the left-hand side. So really tricky, and those teams are going to have to recalibrate how they're sailing because very different to before the race.
Yeah, and you can see that 19.6 kilometers an hour we're showing, just ticked over 20. At the start of this race, it was about 25 to 27, so the breeze has stepped down a fair bit since the start gun.
Midpoint in the race here, Todd. Denmark and Spain first and second. Still a bit of race to run here, but wow, great upwind leg by both crews. Here come the Danish. There's the yellow line. That's your lay line. That suggests they're laid up for the top of the course here for gate number 3, but big call to make. I'm not sure I like the look of a left turn. I'm not sure I want to head back towards the San Francisco shoreline, but an extra manoeuvre for Sehested and his crew. That could be costly. I love where the Spanish are now. They need to keep clear of the Danish, take the right turn, and it could look good for Jamar and the crew as they head downwind.
Denmark still in a learning process as they make the turn at this gate. They'll be on to leg number 4. They have the lead. Here comes Spain with their new helmsman, Jordi Jamar, taking over for Phil Robertson as the drama played out here in San Francisco. He has left the team. Next year, he'll be a part of Canada SailGP.
Well, let's be honest, I'm not sure we expected this to happen. First day of racing for this young Spanish crew as a Spanish outfit, and they lead at the gate here. One more downwind leg, one more upwind leg to go, and they can do it. And I think it's light winds. Yeah, Tom Slingsby round there. He said, good pressure this way. He's talking about the wind. He loves the wind. They're going so fast. Coming away from the shoreline, it's less disturbed wind, no land in the way of the breeze, and it's a big gain at the moment.
Team USA, Jimmy Spithill making their way on to leg number 4. They currently sit in 6th place. Remember, they are in the grand final tomorrow, so they are, in his words, protecting the asset.
There you go, lead change. 100-meter gain for the Spanish by stepping out offshore. But look at the leaderboard, 7th and 8th. GBR in Japan. It's a tricky race course out here. And as we look at the boat speeds, both these teams, Spain and Denmark, 100% flight time. The level in this fleet is going stratospheric at the end of season 2.
Everyone looking for that breeze. As Lisa reported from down on the water, very light. The closer you get to shore, Spain looking good right now. Jordi Chamar taking the lead from Phil Robertson on board as we take you on board Spain SailGP. They have the lead ahead of Denmark and Australia sitting in third, with New Zealand and the USA rounding out the top 5. This is leg 4 of 6.
Todd, they've put it in the water. That's going to be costly. They're on port tack now. If it's close, the Danish will have the right of way. It is close.
Ooh.
It's a lead chase. Denmark, look how high they're flying. The boat is getting light at the bottom of the course, and any mistakes are being punished. That's a 100-meter mistake in that jibe by the Spanish. Okay, so Sehested wants to turn left. He wants to come away from the shore. One more jibe should do that for him. What can the Spanish do? At the moment, they're fairly committed to going right turn, and Denmark will get their favoured side of the course.
Turning. I will. Easy cross on everyone. Copy.
Young crew that has had a learning process throughout the season. They had a great performance in Denmark at Aarhus, but they have been consistently in the middle towards the back of the pack. Stevie, is this an opportunity for them to show what they can do? Momentum carrying them into season 3.
Yeah, I mean, we just heard the wing trimmer, Tom Johnson there. Easy cross, he said. God, you know, just love to hear words like that when you're on the bird. Calm support, but look, the Spanish, oh, that's some bit of bad luck. Oh, the Australians stuff it. Flying too high there. Apologies for the language, a complete loss of control on the Australian boat. Flew too high. I was just about to say, Season 1 champions chasing down the young Spaniards, and wow, well, there you go. That'll be them out of this contest with the Spanish crew now. And in the background, it's Japan and the USA pushing down the course.
And you can see the wind speed is built all across the course. Look at our top left, and the wind speed left to right is very, very similar. So the breeze is filled back in on the shoreline, but it looks like it hasn't affected the Danes here as they've stepped out from the leeward gate and extended 100 metres.
I think one thing maybe to remember, Freddie, at this stage of the tide, on the bottom of our screen, the tide is going from left to right. It's like if you come away from the shore, you're on a conveyor belt.
Yes, they're on the travelator to the windward mark, so they paid the price with slightly choppier water for their tack, but they're on the travelator upwind to the final gate.
So it's Denmark, Spain, and Japan as we check in back on the water with Lisa.
It's really flattened off across the whole racetrack now, which indicates that the tide has actually changed. So the guys will also have to take that into their consideration with their strategy.
That all got a little bit shouty on board the Danish boat there, and what I really liked is Nikolai Sehested just leaned forwards and tapped his wing trimmer, Tom Johnson, on the shoulder and said, easy, mate, easy. Just hit the reset.
There he is, Nikolai Sehested. He's a round-the-world yachtsman. He's not likely to get too flustered in San Francisco Bay, I would have said, to be perfectly honest. He's seen some big situations. What a calm guy. Great to see the Danish. This is a big moment in Danish SailGP's career. Huge moment coming up potentially for them if they can hold it together for the next 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, they won a race in Aarhus at their home event, and that was fantastic to see. They did really well in Saint-Tropez and broke a jib sheet whilst leading the race. So this would be a bit of a crowd favourite win, in my opinion.
Look at this shot here, right-hand side of screen, the Spanish crew, we can see that sparkling water. Sun's reflecting, but that looks like more wind to the right of screen. Denmark, the fans of the Danish team will be very happy to see hydrofoiling, and look at the loss that bad mark rounding by Tom Slingsby and his Australian crew have made as Nathan Outridge, we said he was last on the downwind leg, he's put the shifts together and he's up to third. Outridge, the wind whisperer, he's back in the game.
And moving up to second place, Denmark has the lead, they have the right of way. It'll be one more turn for them on leg number 5. They'll be onto the final stretch to that finish line as they head back towards the shore with the crowds amassing on the seawall. And what a performance and what a result for the Danes. Race number 2 of 3 on the day, but giving them a lot of momentum. And you talked about this. This is a young team. They're still trying to earn their way in SailGP, but this is a great way to start.
Yeah, I mean, what I love the most is the tempo. They sound really calm. Sehested's being a leader. He's leading the team. He's keeping the team when he needs to. That's Tom Johnson, the wing trimmer, talking about the wind coming for the tap.
Yeah, exactly. Stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Have a look in the background, Todd. Look at the Japanese crew up to second place. We can see on the left-hand side of the screen there how Alteridge has put this lap together. Well, we're going to have to look back at that later. Alteridge now straight round the outside of the Spanish. Denmark well set up for gate 5 here. Just a blast to the finish. Nathan Alteridge can tack. It's going to be very, very tight with the Spanish crew, but the Spaniards have to be careful here and watch out for Nathan Alteridge and his Japanese crew. He's got to put the tack in carefully. He will gain right of way, tacking onto starboard tack. It's going to be tight. Here goes Japan onto starboard tack, gains the right of way. Spain must go behind, and it's Japan. Well, 0 to hero on that upwind leg.
What a performance by Nathan Outteridge. His squad looks to be on their way. Meanwhile, Spain comes off, and they put both holes in the water. As Japan speeds away, they'll hold on for second place, but all eyes on Denmark as now the Aussies come into play. And you know Tom Slingsby's going to push the issue just a little bit.
He's got to be careful here. He's on the inside. I'm not sure if he got there. I think he got there too late. That's going to go to the umpires, Craig Mitchell. For me, that was too aggressive from Slingsby. He gained the overlap so late.
But congratulations, Denmark.
The Australia relative Spain, penalty Australia relative Spain, not entitled to mark room.
Not every day I'll say this, Todd, but I agree with Craig Mitchell on there. That was a bit too late for the Australian crew. I think that was too aggressive, but wow, fair play. You've got a final tomorrow, Tom.
So that's a put behind penalty, right, Stevie?
He needs
what
to
the Australians have to do.
Sorry, Freddie, yes, exactly. It's a boat-on-boat penalty, so the Australians must get behind Spain, but what they'll do is they'll put...
He's having a whinge about it. He's having a whinge.
He is having a whinge, but he's got to. He'll be put 5 seconds behind Spain now.
Well, Tom Slingsby living up to Tom Slingsby, doing Tom Slingsby things as he got very aggressive there on race number 2, coming up on that final leg, really putting the pressure on Spain, and he gets the penalty. So he will finish in 4th place behind Spain as we take you back on board. And look at this view.
Here we go. Australia, double speed, but it's not until he gets an overlap that the Spanish must keep clear. Spain enter the circle first. He's too late in behind on board the Australian. It was too late he dived in. Penalty Australia. And there you go. I've got to say, I do agree with that. We're on board Australia, on the back of the Australian boat now. That's the view of Slingsby, how he's judging that. Oh, he's just diving in. And we're sorry about the language there. A big, tight moment. He's 24 hours out from this final. Huge moment. Well, I just think if we think about the finals, historically, that's 1 minute to go to the start. Historically, the leader at Mark 1 in these grand final, in these final 3-boat races, has won the race. Nathan Outteridge has been the first at Mark 1 in both races so far today. He's got his starting pants on, well and truly, and they're working well for him.
Remember, 2 titles on the line this weekend. You can win the San Francisco event, the Mubadala United States Sail Grand Prix, and then the Season 2 Championship, which will take place the final race, 3 boats, winner take all, $1 million. Now 30 seconds to go to the start, Stevie.
Yeah, here we go. We've got Great Britain at the bottom of the line in great control here, doing a nice job of setting things up as we come into the start. 15 seconds to go here to the start, and up on the foils it's Tom Slingsby in Australia in the middle of the line, but I love where Peter Burling and the New Zealand crew are coming in at the bottom. How's your timing? Ainsley and the British crew must keep clear. It's going to be tight on the gun. New Zealand look like they're early. It's going to be tight in the middle of the line there. Wow. Japan and Australia again, great start, but it was a big squeeze by Burling.
France and USA over the line early. No delayed starters, no delayed
starters. Well, here we go. No need to push for Nathan Outteridge. That means he's feeling comfortable. He's going to lead at Mark 1. France and USA must drop behind that red line. They must be last round the fleet after being over the line early. 3 from 3 from Outteridge at Mark 1.
At mark number 1, it is Japan with the lead, Australia in second. Both of them scheduled to be in the grand final, barring a major incident which would take their boat out. But they look very good, and Nathan Outteridge once again with a major flex.
That was the boat behind. Good one on the boundary here.
Is that a preview of the final there? We got the Japanese here. We're on board the bow of the Japanese boat. Australia sets up to jibe. What does the Japanese crew do here? Look at these speeds, bottom left-hand corner. Well, big moment at the moment. It's a big difference in speed because the Australians have just manoeuvred. Seems calm on board that Japanese boat.
This was the point in race number 2 where the Japanese had a terrible jibe and lost first place. Will they make this one stick?
All sounded a lot calmer on board there, didn't it? And that's the voice of Chris Draper, the wing trimmer, saying fat on ley line. That means they've maybe sailed a little bit further than they need to, but they're going to be coming in hot at the bottom of the course here and looking at the ladder line fast mode. There you go, he's got to come in fast. That's the translation there for outerage. And that's the voice of the wing trimmer on board the blue British boat there. That's Ian Jensen, the wing trimmer, talking the distance down to a ley line. So when he thinks they can make this right turn at the bottom, and it looks like going to take a left turn at the bottom and lead the fleet away, will be Japan. Tom Slingsby jibing. That says to me he's going to split at the bottom, and we're going to have a split heading up the first long upwind leg. It's been crucial so far today.
It's not that windy down here. And here we go. Big right shift at the minute, Dave.
So through the gate and on to leg number 3, it is Japan and Nathan Outeridge. Australia and New Zealand sitting 2 and 3. The Americans dropping back to 7th.
That was very interesting. Chris Draper, the wing trimmer on board the Japanese, said big right shift. They're heading to the right. That means it will favour them. We also heard on the Australian boat saying a little bit light here, so we might see the Japanese step out on the Australians in the bottom half of leg number 3.
Oh, they won race 2, but look at Denmark. They've parked. They're on 2 holes out the back. It's going to be no good. And Australia, not Australia, sorry, the Americans, another mistake. They're off the foils, feeling the pressure here. There's going to be some homework to do tonight for that US crew. But the young Spanish, I've got to say, I'm very impressed with how they're sailing today. Top of screen, Tom Slingsby heading away from the San Francisco shoreline, and it'll be interesting to see how things are with Japan.
And Denmark, winners of the last race, in trouble right now. Really, we've got to get things sorted out.
That's the regatta leader there.
Yep.
Let's not forget that. These boys were leading after 2 races and they've had a stinker. They've gone from mid-fleet to hard last, a long way back.
Well, here we go. There's a cross at the front of the fleet as we rejoin the race. Some 50 metres ahead. It's still very, very tight. That's the voice of Nathan Outeridge. Look, he's looking backwards. He's talking about coming into a lot more pressure, more wind. Comforted by Chris Draper, the wing trimmer there. We can see here Castani on the bow, Tim Morishima, the grinders.
2 in his left turn.
Working hard. They're talking about...
Nice gain.
That's what you want to hear.
On this angle.
What you want to hear. Nice gain.
About a 100-yard lead for Japan right now here in race number 3. This is leg 3 of 6. It's Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and now Great Britain making a gain as they get past Spain into 3rd.
2, 1, lock. Here we go. Slow exit.
Boy, that is some treacherous crossing.
Take off.
Wow, it's,
All clear, mate.
that looked like a pretty smooth one to me. Outeridge had to change the rate of turn in the middle of it. Said I've got to turn a little bit slower.
Coming in the heat. Good height here, son. Taking this up, buddy.
That's Chris Draper reassuring Leo Takahashi, the flight controller. We're happy with how high we're flying.
Pressure building all the time.
Constant communication loop to sail this boat smoothly. God, if I'm on board that Japanese boat, I'm excited about how fast they're going.
There's just confirmation of the Japanese getting to Mark 1 in first place. That's their hat-trick of Mark 1 first places today. But unlike the first 2 races, they've locked it in. And right now, it looks like they're going to convert it into a race win.
All good, Leo. Sorry, I was messing around there, mate.
Calm conversations between Draper and Outeridge.
At the mark. Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd want to ask Chris Draper to have a look for the mark. He's not got the best eyesight on the boat. I'd have a look myself, Nathan, if I were you, to be perfectly honest. But I don't think at the moment he's going to be too worried because that's a big lead. What an upwind leg. In phase with the wind shifts. They're sailing nearly straight up that ladder line at the moment, progressing to the gate really quickly.
Yeah, Chris Draper's called the flying mole for a reason because he sails flying boats and he's as blind as a mole.
Well, right now he's doing a fantastic job as they come up on the next gate, gate number 3. This will put them onto leg number 4, more than halfway through the 3rd and final race of the day. And they've had to, Freddie's point, amazing start, but can they convert it now into a win?
Well, at the moment they've gone round, the wind has rotated well round to the left, and exactly as Tom Slingsby says, because the wind's turned towards the top left-hand corner of our screen, it means they'll be able to come round this mark, jibe quite soon, and head straight down. Tight at the bottom though, Ainsley tacks on to starboard, Spain must keep clear, and they're going to be coming in. Will Ainsley choose to do another manoeuvre? I don't know. Fast on board the Australian boat.
Attack bear away is being called on board the British boat. We know that attack bear away, or a Dino as it's called in the sailing world, is high risk because the boat accelerates massively. Let's see how they go here. High, flying high into the tack. If they pull this off, it'll be pretty nice. Do you know, that's fairly clean in this wind strength. Got away with that one. Nice manoeuvre.
Ben Ainsley called it nice. Take it.
18 seconds.
Had his heart in the mouth there, and look at this, what a sight. Japan and Australia, they're gone. Look in the middle of screen, Jimmy Spittle and his US team going to be contending that final tomorrow. They've got to find something because they're nearly 800, 900 metres behind here, halfway through the race.
Well, the question is, where is the wind and where's the sweet spot on the course? For that, we check in with Lisa Darmanin down in the water.
Well, right now I'm down at the crowd looking at the atmosphere, but the wind has increased across the course and the crowd is loving it. They've been cheering the whole time and they just can't wait for that finish because the boats are literally heading straight into that grandstand.
Look at this perfect day and the fans are packed into the grandstand, some sitting on the seawall to see the best sailors in the world duke it out here on day number 1. Remember, more racing coming tomorrow, but this is day 1, race number 3, leg number 4, and it is all Japan.
So this is the leg summary from the upwind, and you can see the Japanese did a really nice job of sailing the wind shifts, therefore the shortest distance. They picked a really nice tactical route around the course, did one less manoeuvre, and extended on the Australians and the British.
There we go, that was Nathan Outridge thinking of trying to take the right turn to go where Australia will go, but decided late on, keep it simple.
And here we go.
This will be a big moment here as Australia on starboard coming in, but it's the young Spanish crew coming in from the top of screen. They're going to have to keep clear, but a big gain for Japan, big gain for Spain, and Slingsby, well, he's going to head towards San Francisco and hope he smells a good wind shift out of the donut shops on the shore there.
Just heard Chris Draper, he's been very vocal in this race, and I picked it up on the first upwind. He said, I'm messing around here with the wing. He went around the leeward mark there and he said, I don't really know what's going on with my wing, so maybe this win for the Japanese isn't quite set in stone yet.
And how much of this is R&D for the grand final? How much are they testing? How many chances are they taking out on the water?
Word on the street is the Japanese might have found a bit of a secret weapon with their wing setup, so maybe that's what Chris Draper's messing around with. Who knows?
Thought you were supposed to keep that one hidden until tomorrow.
Conspiracy theory.
Oh, I thought that was a secret till tomorrow, but top of screen, look how slow the Australians are, 37 kilometres an hour, up and foiling, and the Japanese crew there in the middle of screen. Yeah, that's Chris Draper, the wing trim there, telling Leo to chill. Young Takahashi, he's new in this role. He's working with a gold medalist Outridge, bronze medalist Draper. It's a big pressure role for Leo Takahashi, and he's going to be really, really excited in that position. Chris doing a good job. Here we go, cross coming up here, the right of way with the Spanish. Young Spanish crew are doing a fantastic job moving up through the fleet. Slingsby yields, has to go behind. When they come together again, further up this final upwind leg, the right of way will be with Slingsby as he comes from the right.
And remember, at the end of race number 2, it was Spain and Australia that got into it, and Australia getting the penalty, having to drop behind. So it's Japan in the lead, Spain in second, Australia in third, Great Britain in fourth. The Americans have moved up to fifth.
Good opportunity to look at the true wind speed on board Spain and Australia. Looks pretty similar. Maybe Australia's in slightly less wind out on the offshore side, but it will be close when they come back together.
On board with Australia now.
Nice tack there. They stick it on the foil. They're still level as we look across that gain line now. 200 metres ahead of the Japanese crew, and here we go. They're boosting.
We are one tack left turn to the finish, okay? Good pressure again up here. Very big lead, okay? It's just our boat from here.
There you go. I bet he hopes he says that in 24 hours' time.
If he says that in 24 hours' time, he's $1 million richer.
We have got about 15 seconds, so you'll get up.
And there is a definite difference in mood on board boats with Nathan Outridge, Jimmy Spithill, and Tom Slingsby. Would you agree, Stevie?
Hugely different characters. I mean, Slingsby is such an aggressive fighter. He loves the combat, so does Spithill. But at Outridge, he loves to sail his own path. He loves to keep it smooth, flow, rhythm. all the rest of it, he's a smooth sailor. He's not combative, and if he can be leading at Mark 1, that could be really, really good news for the Japanese crew in 24 hours' time.
You can be as smooth and calm as you want, but looking at the forecast for tomorrow, blowing 20 knots off the city, you can throw all that out the window, in my opinion.
I'm fully inclined to agree, but I just think it's going to put more of a premium on calm decisions, calm decision making. If you're hot-headed and the wind's being hot-headed out of your control, could mean we have some serious drama before we even get to that grand final tomorrow.
So on race number 3 in the final gate, it is Japan, and look at the speeds climbing over 90 kilometers an hour.
Over 50 knots in old money as they bear away there. The acceleration, the control of the foils from Takahashi.
Finish marks, really close together, the finish marks.
And Japan sending a message to the rest of the fleet and possibly the 2 other competitors in the grand final tomorrow, the Americans and the Australians. We have figured out the bay, at least for today. Race number 3 will go the way of the Japanese, and look at that speed as they cross the line.
Biggest thing for these guys today is they figured out the formula to start the best in the fleet and got a hat-trick of Mark 1 first places.
Huge. And the crowd are lovely.
There you go, Chris Draper said we deserve 3 of those.
Yeah.
Whoa, big chat, like it.
So if you are the US or Australia, you've got to be a little nervous because the way Japan started all 3 races was amazing.
I think so, really. I mean, great. Hey, listen to that. You don't have to speak a lot of Spanish to understand they're pretty happy with that one. What a performance by the young Spanish crew there. Slingsby, let's listen to hear what he's got to say about things.
Dropping board. Yep, go for it.
Wow, sounded a bit frustrated on board. Certainly not the buzz on board that Australian boat. Plenty to think about. Brilliant. I think good hustle from Ben Ainsley. That means a good comeback. The Americans still coming across the line here. They've got an awful lot to think about. They've got to reinvent themselves overnight for me here. Nathan Outridge, well, I know absolutely who's going to sleep best tonight.
No, it's not the Americans. They haven't looked all featured at all today, really, and they certainly haven't looked electric.
Well, I'm pretty sure in 2013 we did hear that one day you're a feather duster, the next you're a rooster. Well, there'll be a good time to pull that one out of the bag, Jimmy. He's had a few comebacks in this place before, and he's going to need something very, very special to turn things around.
As Denmark comes in, remember the winners of race number 2, they will finish in 6th in race number 3. Then it'll be France, and the Kiwis with a big fall off from 5th in race 2, and of course 3rd in race number 1. They will finish dead last in race number 3. Stevie, while we have just a moment, these boats cross the line, what makes San Francisco so special and so tricky?
It's just consistently good wind. The current churns the sea state up so it can become choppy. You've got the shoreline on the left, skyline buildings, and the wind's trying to bend around the land. It's not a steady wind. The wind is always changing direction. It's always changing strength, and it's just windy, brutal, cold, and you're punished for any mistakes.
So race number 3 goes the way of Japan. Nathan Outridge hitting speeds over 90 kilometers an hour here in San Francisco. So back in the pre-start situation, race number 4 abandoned earlier because of one of the markings had broken loose, so it was not fair for the entire fleet, so they reset it, and we are back underway. And guys, this just goes to the point of just how tricky the conditions have been.
Here we go, breaking through the start line there. Out of the middle of the line, it's Japan. They've done a fantastic job, but the New Zealand crew boosting out in front. This could, no, it's the American crew coming out, flying through the middle of the fleet there. Bottom of the line, it's New Zealand. It's a drag race, but this is the first. Oh, Jimmy Spittle, the boat's porpoising, lost control of the ride height there. Boats are so hard to sail in this gusty condition, but this is the first time we've seen the Americans and Jimmy Spittle leading the fleet, and what a time to do it.
3, 2, 1, Rolling away now. No boys. Keep going down. Try and lock her in again, lads. Right.
Welcome back to San Francisco, California. The restart of race number 4, which is abandoned after one of the markers came loose. The Americans getting an amazing start on the restart. But you talked about it, Stephen Morrison, the porpoising of the Americans and Freddie Carr. They hold on to it, but now it's New Zealand.
New Zealand are in really great shape here. A boat that's not in great shape is the Danish boat. They've had to pull out for technical issues. They were coming joint third overall, and they've had to pull out. Really sad news for Danish SailGP fans.
Look at the speeds.
Look at the speeds, Todd, indeed. It's going to come down to a jibe near the ley line. New Zealand first to jibe away. Green light on board. America says they're within 50 metres of the boundary there as they come downwind. He looks like he's lined up with the yellow line, Jimmy Spitter. The ladder line shows him to be a few metres ahead, but he's missed the jibe. Just 65 kilometres an hour as Burling and his New Zealand crew. Are they lined up for the left turn? Yes, they are. They're in good breeze. Great first downwind from the New Zealand crew, and expect a left turn, better tide and better wind out to sea.
Could be some tight crossings here as they approach this second gate. It will be New Zealand in first place, the Americans sitting in second.
Oh, and Spain diving inside. American boat! There's a collision with the American boat and the Spanish boat. Oh, my Lord! Spain diving inside there. I think it was too late. Massive moment on board there. Wow, hopefully everyone's okay.
They need to check that American boat pretty quickly and make sure it's ship-shape for the grand final. The Spanish boat were on board the Americans there from what I could see. Let's see what the Americans do here. Are they going to slow the boat and check everything out?
First and foremost, the safety of the entire crew. We will update you as soon as we get some message, but that is amazing as Spain came in hot and landed right on the back of the Americans. Let's watch this one more time.
There we go. It's going to have to hear from the umpire, Craig Mitchell, as to whether or not the Spanish were entitled to room there. If they were, Jimmy Spittle should have got out of his way. I think they came in too late, but we're going to find that out, and they dived inside. It looks like there's been a bit of damage there.
Umpires, penalty Spain relative USA, no room at, not overlapped at the zone.
Oh, they
penalty clear.
Just tried to dive inside, a little bit reckless, a little bit loose. These gusty conditions, things are changing so quick. Look at that. Oh, wow. Fortunately, everything's okay there. Bit of a collision. There's going to really need to be a check of that American
Spanish hull to hitting the American rudder. That could have been a season ender.
Oh, here we go. There's plenty of drama left out here. Let's rejoin the race, and we can see that it's the New Zealand crew now, nearly 100 metres out in front of Ben Ainsley's British boat. It's very, very shifty. And here we go.
And
Japan.
Meanwhile, Spain SailGP is in a world of hurt as they are the ones that initiated the contact on the Americans going around that second gate at the bottom of the course. The Americans look to be okay, but this is a big problem for Spain.
So that's Denmark
you
out.
see that.
That's Denmark out, and that's Spain out. Let's rejoin the front of the race with New Zealand.
When New Zealand are in the lead, and we can see here they're up and foiling, but still they're finding it hard to keep the boat smooth. It's really gusty, really hard to get the platform down. That's better now. Looks like they're laying in here, and the French team, Content de la Pierre, well positioned. Nathan Outridge at the bottom of our screen, going to come into shot right now in fourth. He's found his way up the course, but he's got a hard manoeuvre coming as Peter Burling, he's high out the water there. Andy Maloney manages to get the boat under control, the flight controller here. Ben Ainsley going to come round in third of Great Britain, but what a good upwind leg by the French team of Content de la Pierre. Loving these gusty conditions. It's getting windy out there, Freddie.
Yeah, what we saw there whilst we were watching replays is the bottom left of the course was very, very good. So that southerly kicked in again, rotated the breeze to the left, and every boat that went to the shore side gained massively.
And the message on the front of the boat for Great Britain, send it. Remember, the top 3 teams are already locked in, but if one of them had an incident like the Americans and the Spanish, and the Americans weren't able to sail, Stevie, the way I understand it, the Americans would be out, the 4th place team would move in.
And by sending it right now, the British team in the 4th race are tied 2nd overall here in San Fran, and that moves them up into that 4th place in the season overall.
I'll tell you what, they will be scrambling to get down to that American boat after this race concludes. Right now, it is still New Zealand out in front. It is France in second, just barely ahead of Great Britain. In 4th goes the Australians. And look at Nathan Outridge, staying away from everyone in 5th.
Big loss, though, for Nathan Outridge there. He took the left turn at the top, sailed into less breeze, and it's going to be crucial for the overall down this leg.
We're going to go down to Lisa in a minute, but she has just joined me on the WhatsApp and says there is a big hole in the back of the American boat and they're having to keep it foiling to stop it filling up with water. Is that the moment that knocks them out of the grand final?
Well, I sincerely hope not, Freddie, as we round up at the gate here. It's been a fantastic downwind leg for Ben Ainsley's British crew, up to second behind the Kiwis. And again, Tom Slingsby, huge move on the Japanese boat, moved well ahead of them into third for the overalls here in San Francisco. That could be crucial. Oh, straight into the JK there, rounding up tack. Slick manoeuvre by the Australian boat there, but they've touched the water. They're off the foils. How quickly they can get up and going again, as we see Jimmy Spithill still foiling, still sailing around well at the moment. Let's hope that news isn't quite accurate.
All right, let's take it down to the water, and Lisa Darmanin let us know what she can tell us.
3, 2, 1, turning.
Well, I just saw the USA boat go around that top gate, and there's a huge gaping hole in the side of their port hull, so I can basically see straight through it. So they're going to have quite a bit on to get through the day, so I wouldn't be surprised if they throw this next race to get their boat ready for the final.
And to Lisa's point, the Americans have already got a spot in the grand final. That's the race for the overall championship of the season. Only 3 boats will be in there, but if they're damaged and they can't go, then the 4th place boat moves in. There you see Spain completely dead in the water. Let's look at this moment one more time.
Here we go. We see the Americans have entered the yellow circle first. That gives them the right of way. The Spanish clearly outside the circle there. Rights, there's no room for the Spanish in there, but he's coming in fast, he's coming in hot, and he just lands on top, and that's where this damage takes place. Look there, hole in the back corner. That's so unlucky. Let's hope the shore crew, we've got the most amazing shore crew in world sailing with SailGP, and I'm sure they can make something happen. But 100 metres out in front on this final upwind leg, it's New Zealand. Peter Burling, one last good tack, could see them secure the race. Here they go, finish line top right. Great tack by the New Zealand crew, but it's Tom Slingsby breathing down their neck. He's almost sailing straight up the ladder line. Wind swung all the way back to the west, and he's charging, but it looks like Burling and his New Zealand crew have got it wrapped up.
So despite all the drama in race number 4 with the Americans and the Spanish, it will be the Kiwis that get the win in race 4. It started off with an abandonment, a collision mid-race, and the Kiwis stayed clean and away. Australia will come in for 2nd place. Great move for them, and Great Britain finishing in 3rd.
Wow, there's a bit of a battle developing. Let's assume the Americans can't race and they are sinking. Let's assume that, because we love sporty action. There is a real battle between New Zealand and Great Britain for 4th overall in the season to nick that spot. Hang on to your hats, folks. This is happening.
So there you see France coming across the finish line. There the Americans still up and sailing. I don't think they're concerned at all about what position they end up in. They just want to get it to the short crew as fast and safely as possible. And it does look like the Americans will finish in 5th place. And Japan will take 6th.
We're good.
1 minute mark for the start of race number 5. You will hear the klaxon sound when we hit that 60-second mark here in San Francisco. So to Freddie Carr's point, it now becomes, instead of 8, it will be 5. And I guess the first question I have to ask you, Stevie Morrison, is if you're Australia, if you're Japan, you saw what happened just moments ago. Do you stay away from everyone and just race this straight and just maybe go through the motions?
I think you've still got to find your rhythm. You've still got to try and hit your straps and get your timing. And this is lining up as a much more conventional start here. We can see Great Britain and New Zealand. They're in that battle to potentially get up to 4th overall in the championship. This race will be crucial for them, and they're already interacting with each other. Nathan Outridge, the Japanese boat, top of screen. The Australians at the bottom leading back. He loves to have a good plan. He loves a strategy, the Australian team there. And up on the foils at 17 seconds is Nathan Outridge. I think he's too early. Wool's going to get their timing right here as all the boats start turning down. Australia turns down first. Great Britain, will they pop up on the foils and look to shoot through? It's all about timing. Everyone too early here. They've got to go clear. Flying through now in 1st place. It's going to be Australia breaking the line first, but the Great British crew, can they find that dark patch of wind in the background there? That's a huge gust of wind. Whoever gets that first is going to go seriously fast. Looks to me like Australia will be able to lead from here at Mark 1, but Japan are going to be coming in hot in that big gust.
As they approach mark number 1 in race number 5, it will be the Aussies indeed, the defending champions from season 1, looking to carry momentum into the grand final. Can they get it done here?
Great rounding was straight on board the Australian boat here. Nina Curtis in the background there, looking for the mark, looking for the course.
Got a lot of just working on depth all the time here, but
that's the voice of Tom Slingsby there.
Jive.
Looking to do 2 jibes at the bottom here, talking to his flight controller, Jason Waterhouse there, who calls him Milky, talking about the swell. There's a sea under here, making the foiling hard.
That's all I got for you there.
And Stevie, for the folks that are new to sailing in San Francisco, it's consistent but tricky.
It's consistently windy normally, but the wind's coming a little bit more off that shoreline we can see behind, and as soon as the wind comes off the shore, it's unstable. It's got to move around hills, buildings, whatever it's got to get around, it makes it a lot harder. But the Australians are trying to squeeze down to gate 2 here. Looks like they've done it in 1. This should be a big gain for the Australian crew. Oh, but they leap up round there. Good save on the rounding. Nathan Outridge's Japanese crew are going to split the course. It's tight. Starboard tack with Great Britain. France and New Zealand must keep clear. Oh, the French needed to get out of the way there. The Great British boats had the right of way. The Kiwis, oh my lord, another instance. These gusty conditions are catching everyone out. De La Pierre needed to jibe away there and give New Zealand room to keep clear. We're probably going to hear again from the umpire, Craig Mitchell. This is a battle of attrition out here. Here we go, starboard tack, Great Britain has right of way. France must give room for the Kiwi boat to keep clear. They don't, there's nowhere to go, they leap up. Hopefully everyone's all right. Oh, it's some serious drama out here. Look, New Zealand are set up to jibe. They're expecting France to get out of the way, but the French are just not doing anything. Wow. My lord, that was a big moment in sport there. De La Pierre puts his arms in the air, but for me, he should have been jibing out the way. We're back live now. Slingsby, it is a big gain. Look at that. 300 metres in the blink of an eye, and that Australian roux is bouncing its way up the course.
More drama at gate number 2 here in race number 5. This time it is New Zealand and France, as Great Britain has the right of way, cuts in front of them. For my money, Stevie, neither boat had anywhere to go, because as fast as Ben Ainslie was coming through, it's not like they could pull the e-brake.
It's supposed to be the best sailors in the world, Todd. You've got to see these things happening in front of you. It was pretty clear. Ben Ainslie was on starboard tack for a long time. They know they've got to keep clear, and the French just didn't react quick enough for me, but I'm sure we'll hear from our umpire, Craig Mitchell. But look at that dark patch of water the British are in. That's an indication, a big dark patch of water. There's a gust of wind there. You can see it's wavy out there. That's our camera crew getting knocked over. The Australians, they've fallen off the foil, just 33 kilometres an hour and 50 kilometres an hour on the foiling British boat. This distance getting eaten up. It's down to 100 metres. Can they get the boat back foiling? Yes, they can. The Australians will get round gate number 3 in the lead, and they'll be hoping to find wind away from here.
So Australia moves on to leg 4 of 6, and we've had more drama in race number 5. Remember, the grand final still awaits. Great Britain now sits in 2nd place. Japan has moved into 3rd, and we'll have to find out what's going on with New Zealand and France.
So in terms of the overall San Fran event here, as the position stands, Australia would win San Fran SailGP. Great Britain, as they're currently 2nd in this race, would confirm their 2nd place at San Fran SailGP, and Japan would finish 3rd. So as we see in race number 5 is how they'll finish on the podium in San Francisco.
And the big question, Fred, though, is who sits in 4th place in case the USA can't go.
That would be Great Britain would be in 4th place.
Here we go, we see this incident right of screen, Great Britain on starboard. The French here have to give room for the Kiwi crew to keep clear. They haven't done that, and there we see leaping up on board there. It was such an, I mean, it was, I think we might have got away with it, but it was a really near disastrous incident, that collision. And anyway, Japan sails away, as Australia are doing right now, but again, even the Australian crew have stuffed it into the water there. It's so hard. We can see the dark streaks of water. Here we go, that's Tom Slingsby.
for this one. We're really to leeward here.
See how hard it is on board. Look how hard it will recover. That's right, Tom. Keep it calm.
Turn up here.
They're off the foils here. Really slow.
They're in the southerly. The southerly is busting in here, isn't it?
Look at that.
The southerlies won the Battle of the Breezes,
It's getting
and it
sporty
is
out.
pumping in over the city, isn't it now?
Oh, look at this, the British crew, they fall off the foils here as we turn up into this breeze. Noticeable that they're all heading back towards the San Francisco shoreline. That is a southerly direction, means the winds turn to the left, which means by tacking now, as the Australians are onto port tack, wind coming over the left side, they'll be moving straight up that ladder line, and that's what all this is about. Get to the next gate as quickly as possible, and we can see the wind coming off San Francisco. It's going to be good for Tom Slingsby in Australia from here.
So there you see the 5 boats in contention right now. This is the last upwind leg with Australia in the lead. Great Britain, though, is coming on strong with Ben Ainslie in 2nd place. Japan sits in 3rd. Now remember, folks, there's still one more race to go. That is the grand final for over $1 million. And right now it's Australia, Japan, and the USA who are sitting out this race because they were damaged in the 1st race.
That's lefty, I think.
Max Lefty's talking about the biggest left wind shift they've had. We can see they're really flying up the ladder line, and more importantly, they're directly between the British boat and the next gate, which means they have tactical control of the situation. But look how heeled over the boat is. This is so rare for these top crews, the Australians. They just love these difficult conditions, and if I'm Tom Slingsby, I'm loving it because the pressure's on. We're delivering 2 good races in a row, momentum, and when do you want momentum? Just before the grand final of SailGP Season 2.
Australia finishing in 2nd place in race number 4. They will get the win in race number 5 and some well-deserved rest as they get set to defend their title from a year ago. Australia winners of race 5. So now it's time to bring their heart rate down as Great Britain comes into 2nd place and regroup.
Ben Ainslie's got a better spreadsheet than you, Freddie. He seemed to know they were 2nd overall and 4th in the season as he crossed the finish line.
Well, mate, I said that mid-race. Pipe down.
Clearly both using your maths GCSE to good effect there, Freddie. That is good. But as we come in 3rd place, Burling and the New Zealand crew done a nice job in that wind shift. But look at those dark patches of water. They're big gusts. Extra pressure makes the boat go super fast. It's going to be one tricky final. This one is not going to be over until it's over. A big race coming. Japan need a reset. They've not looked smooth today.
Because if we do, we're going to do it quickly.
Well, we thought there was drama in race number 4. We match it in race number 5. And again, Freddie, this makes life easy for you. The key moment in race number 5, there's really no other place to turn than France, New Zealand, and Great Britain.
It's going to be fly by your gut and get the boat off the start line. How light is that? I mean, that looks sub 15 kilometers an hour to me.
I've got us racing.
Oh, wow. Let's dial into the voices on board here. This will give us the best picture of what's going on.
Big left shift here. Yep. Come up 30 degrees. He's not tacked yet. He's still on port. Move that lead out for a second.
Paul Campbell-James, wing trimmer on board America, Chris Draper, wing trimmer on Japan, talking about the timing. Already coming into the race, we're approaching the 1-minute warning signal.
We are 1 minute away from the start, the restart of the grand final here in San Francisco, California, the last race of Season 2 of SailGP. First race abandoned after a whale sighting. The Americans with a damaged boat on the stern, and here we go, 43 seconds.
So all boats are on port here with 43 seconds to go, with one maneuver to do, one tack to do to line themselves up to the start with 30 seconds to go. Very short to Mark 1 and only 600 metres from Mark 1 down to the first gate.
It's almost upwind to Mark 1 here. First to lead back is the Americans. Tom Slingsby turns the Australian boat away from the wind. He's hoping to get up on the foils with 15 seconds to go. How's the timing? The Japanese closest to the line, leading back, not what we expected. Dark patch of wind coming in above here. 8, 7 seconds to go. It's all about who can get on the foil. The Australians have the speed. There's the start there. Spittle's done a fantastic job again, but who's going to get on the foils first? It's Australia and Tom Slingsby. They're boosting away towards Mark 1. The camera boat in the way of the Japanese here, but boosting away. This is going to be a huge lead for Tom Slingsby as the Americans fall off the foils in the background. Advantage Slingsby.
Just trying to foil here.
Both boats behind off the foils.
Head pressure's up, slingers. Yep. Trying to get through this.
Nathan Andrews, we have to apologise for a bit of swearing there. He was very upset with the camera boat that was in his way as he was trying to accelerate.
We're going again here, Milky.
There we go. That's the voice of Tom Slingsby, and he is going to be down the road. Look at these two boats here, sat in no wind.
Left turn, please.
And I'm looking at the UMPAT right now. Australia's about to get to Mark 1, and they must have half a leg lead on the Americans and the Japanese that we're on board with now. The Australians have just arrived at Mark 1 in pressure, bearing away. And
Look at
as
the
it's
speed difference.
Look at the speed difference, 50 kilometres an hour versus 25. I know which boat I'd like to be on, but as the hull pops up on board the American boat here, look for the right-hand side of screen. They're up and foiling. Right, time to chase them down. That's the voice of Paul Campbell. James calling there. Come down, we can turn down. I've got good wind in the boat. I'm up and foiling, and they're now leaving the Japanese behind.
And the Americans are about to arrive at Mark 1. The Australians are halfway down the second leg, with the Japanese a long way back in first. Here's our leaders. Here's Australia. They have got one in.
As they get away from the shore, we can see in the background there, they're moving further and further away from the shore, and as they move downwind, they're going to find more wind. Clear away from the shore, so the rich are going to get richer early on.
These are the defending champions, Australia. They get an early break here in the grand final. $1 million plus on the line. They make the turn. They are on to leg number 3, and they will see the Americans and the Japanese still making their way down course. So a huge advantage to a team that you do not want to give an advantage to.
First tap early, keen to tap there on board the Australian boat, trying to stay in the breeze away from shore.
So we're set up in that westerly race course again with the breeze round in the south. Really makes it a bit processional, but that westerly breeze might kick back in and the breeze swing to the right.
Awful lot of manoeuvres on board the American boat there at the bottom. Paul Campbell, James Wing Trim are very happy. They managed to stay on the foil as we see Japan in the background. Can't help feeling as we approach the top of the course, right up underneath that San Francisco shoreline, that's where the jeopardy's going to come back into it for this Australian crew. Can they get in and out of there staying on the foils?
I think the left-hand approach looks better at the top.
If
we can get all the height we can,
he wants to be on the left-hand side. He wants to be nearer the shore, Freddie Carr. He wants the breeze coming off that San Francisco shoreline.
Yeah, the breeze is out of that San Francisco shoreline. And right now, the Australians are pointing directly at the windward mark in pressure. And they are extending and extending and extending, coming up to a 500-metre lead.
Heard him discussing the manoeuvre here. Does he want to do a Chicago? Right turn early, jibe. So he's looking to set up for a right turn straight into a jibe. They're going to be able to sail directly up and down the course. This is a leader's dream. It's just about sailing their own boat now. Keep it smooth, keep it simple.
Gains up here.
Talking about the gains, there you see the wind at the top. Checking in around 20 kilometers an hour, and it's Australia that found the wind first. They took off as they make their way on. You heard the talk of the Chicago.
Chicago, that's a right turn early jibe, but they're off the foils.
Down.
Off the foils here. Now, how long are they going to stay off the foils? Will they get more wind back to pop up? This could be opportunity knocks for the boats behind if they're going to get a chance. This is it. Where's the next gust of wind?
Look at the top left, look at the distance to lead, and that is coming down pretty quickly. It's about to go down past 500. It's going down 10 meters a second as the Australians are off the foil, and it looks to me like the USA are coming in with good pressure in the middle of the course.
Listen to that, Tom Slingsby, we've got to be patient, we've got to punch through this. We can see it.
I think we're going to go for the top.
We can see it foiling in come the American crew. Look at the distance coming down. Will they get there in breeze? At the moment, look at the speeds. 11 kilometres an hour for the Australians, 45 kilometres an hour for the USA, and they're back within the same shot. The race is all on.
We have a restart.
But they're not laying. They're not laying. How big a mistake's that? They look like they might have been a bit greedy. They need to make the right turn.
But look at this, guys. It was over 500 meters. The lead for the Australians is now below 125. And now the Americans, and here comes Japan.
I'll tell you what, and Japan will round up in a real lefty here. They are going to lay. And if the Japanese keep the boat on the foil, which they don't, and the Australians pick up the breeze, the Japanese have just come in to
We can see there on the back of the boat, Nina Curtis looking out for Breeze. Hull comes up, good sign for the Australian fans. Next thing we should look to see is on the right-hand side of the screen, can they get that other hull out of the water? Can they get it foiling again? It's skimming, there it goes, it's up, it's released. The rich are about to get richer again, boosting away.
So here comes the distance. Watch this grow quickly.
Background, the Japanese are through to second, but look, they're at under 10 kilometres, they're at 8
Look at the boat
kilometres
speed
an hour.
difference. Look at the boat
50
speed
kilometres an
difference.
hour, 40 kilometres an hour difference. That's just huge. But we've seen it, the top of the course is going to be pivotal. Nathan Outridge, he's spent less time in the water than anyone else. Looks like he's about to get foiling again. Up to second of the Japanese crew. This race is still on.
Reset. I know it's too eased. Keep building here.
Didn't quite get it up on the foils. A mistake from the Japanese crew there.
Really
As the
windy, we're
Aussies
just
are
going to do
off.
the turn and
I'm looking at the unpacked, and the Australians are in the bottom third of the downwind, whilst the Japanese are still trying to get on the foil in the top half of the upwind, and the Americans are stuck at the windward gate in no wind.
This is leg 4 of 6. They will make the turn, they will head upwind, and then it'll be a short distance to the finish line, and Australia has almost locked this thing up. The defending champions from last year looking to make it 2 in a row, and look at the distance growing.
Stevie, is this a victory lap right now? 800 metres?
I think they're going to struggle to not manage to make it stick from here, but we've seen how bad the top of the course can be.
Mark to finish, correct? Yep.
I can't see it from here. They're just looking so solid. Just whether or not they're this far ahead, they're sailing the boat the best. That's what they're doing a great job. Lots of comms on board the boat. The Japanese, they are on the foils. They have closed the distance a bit. They're going faster, 66 kilometres an hour versus 55.
Distance to lead is 600 metres. The Americans, the Australians, pardon me, are halfway up their final upwind and on the foil.
Locking it in and setting up. Boundary coming quick, my wing.
Here we go.
Going forward. Good path here. 2, 1. 2, 1. Locked. Sitting. Fine.
So here we go. It is Australia, the winners of last year's SailGP season, with a massive lead, looking to bring it home and claim the win in the grand final. All kinds of drama taking place today in races 4 and 5 collisions. We had an abandonment, we had a whale sighting, and now they have come back, and the Australians have been the class. Remember, guys, they've already got 4 wins on the season, and they look so smooth.
Currently pointing below
This
the mark.
is it. That's the voice of Carl Langford. We're not quite pointing at the marks, but Slingsby just wants to get the boat up on foiling. The reassurance of foiling is all they need. Look, they're up and going. Speed's going to build. They're foiling high above the water, and that could well be the crucial moment as they bring it in towards the finish line.
2, 1. Going forward. Go wing hard.
Japan has moved into second place, but they are more than 460 meters behind Australia. Similar the way it ended last year, with Australia getting the win ahead of Japan. The USA nowhere in the running right now with that damaged boat. They sit in 3rd place. But this, the grand final, Tom Slingsby seems to save the best for last. For Australia SailGP, the repeat is now complete. 2-time SailGP champions here in San Francisco.
Getting softer here. Pressing hard lefty.
This is just the victory lap as they flex for the fans that have turned out here to watch the world's best sailors as they cruise along the shoreline. And it is Australia that claims the title in 2022.
1. Just gonna bear away here, guys. Bearing away here.
Wow. There you go, that means something. Jason Waterhouse there in the hatch flight controller, absolutely fizzing. Australian fans absolutely fizzing. What a race. I mean, the conditions, got to say, over the season, deserved champions for me, and to deliver in those conditions, wow, fair play. Fair play. Nina Curtis, Tom Slingsby, everyone, great job.
5 wins this season, and the last one the most valuable at $1 million in the grand final.
They held their nerve at that first windward gate, and the world was changing around them. They held their nerve. Tom Slingsby said, be patient, our turn will come. Their turn came. They've won $1 million. They've won season 2 of SailGP. I take my hat off to that result.
What a performance. What a performance.
And
Looks like it's
Japan
turning up.
will finish in second place again. Nothing to hang their heads about. They had some great success this year, of course, winning in Italy. They came back and won in France as well. But second place for Nathan Outteridge in Japan SailGP.
Hello, guys. All right.
Japan didn't have the best start in that final, but there was a camera boat directly in front of them when they were trying to get on the foil, and I understand Nathan's frustrations when he was talking as they were sailing off the line. A real tricky one for those guys. Feel for them.
Tom Slingsby and crew can now celebrate back-to-back winners, SailGP. What a season for them. There were moments, guys, during this year where they just looked to be out of sync and out of sorts, but they bounced back, and it was that win in Australia in December that seemed like they just grabbed the momentum and brought it all the way up to San Francisco.